Good morning, everybody. It's John for Father's Rights on my anti-human trafficking page. It's 5:01 a.m., June 15, 2024. Today, a couple of days ago, I was arrested again on bullshit. Once again, my wife had me arrested, and they keep giving her these orders of protection to use against me, and she's wielding them like a sword, even though I haven't done anything wrong to her. Basically, the state is letting her just openly abuse me. And yes, I am suffering from some kind of mental uh, uh, depression and anxiety myself because of what she's done to me and my daughter and my family. And I'm going to give you an example. Um, you see this? This is the family offense petition. This is the first attempt that she tried to get an order of protection against me, which was denied. It was dismissed with prejudice for a reason. And we're going to show you the events that she claims were violent and I was ranting at her. I actually videotaped it. The most recent incident on September 14, 2022 at my home, petitioner states one of the many incidents, John Russo threatens me and said CPS will come and take my daughter if she's late to school. He was calling my daughter names. As we were leaving, she is slow as a snail and yelling at her to move faster. I told him to be quiet and stop yelling. At the point, he refused to take her to school for us to find our way. He also called me an ignorant beast and a stupid bitch in front of my daughter. He is verbally and emotionally abusive to my daughter and I. To put it bluntly, that's just horseshit. You see, what happened is because of the what happens is that I was sitting there waiting for them to go to school. Of course, I'm driving them there. And my daughter was refusing to go to school again. And I made her get up and go hit the shower. And I told her to hurry up or we're going to be late. You have to teach your children it's not okay to be late. But apparently they haven't been instilled, that hasn't been instilled in my wife, because her mother never taught her the importance of being on time to work or school or anything like that, because her mother never had a job and has a sense of entitlement that was actually so bad that it actually hurt my family financially, because she was making demands that we give her the things that she wanted, because somehow she was entitled to those things from us. It got to a point to where she actually went out and took a loan from a loan shark, and then told the loan shark that my family was going to pay it back, me, my wife, and my daughter. That's how bad her sense of entitlement was. She also scammed my wife out of $2,000 by telling her that she had a rich relative that died and left some money, a large amount of money in the bank account, and if her daughter can give to her $2,000, she could pay the lawyer fee, and they'd be able to get access to that money, and she in turn would give some of that money to her daughter. Unfortunately, my wife is soft-hearted and soft-headed. She didn't realize she was being grifted. That's called a pigeon drop, and her mother did that to her. And that's why I didn't like my mother-in-law too much. Also, my daughter had the sense to not like her because there were several incidences my daughter noticed, and she did not like her grandmother either. There was no love lost when grandma passed away. There was not one tear in my daughter's eyes. My daughter never liked her grandmother. My daughter has that uncanny perception of people like I do. And she told me that she didn't like her grandmother. But out of respect for the elderly, I actually used to force my daughter to go see her grandmother when she didn't want to. She'd rather stay with me. And that's the truth. My wife comes from a very abusive family and a very entitled family. So let's go over here. Most recent incident on September 14, 2022 at my home. Petitioner states, one of the many incidents John Russo threatens me and says CPS will come and take my daughter. Which they will, because she was already excessively absent. The second week of school, she was out 1 week. Okay? He was calling my daughter names. I never did that. As we were leaving, she is slow as a snail and yelling at her to move faster. I never yell at my daughter because I don't have to. She does what I say. I told him to be quiet, stop yelling. At the point, he refused to take her to school for us to find her own way. He also called me an ignorant beast and a stupid bitch in front of my daughter. He's verbally and emotionally abusive to my daughter and I. Now, the reason why I'm laughing because I don't recall that ever happening that way. I did tell my daughter to hurry up and be late, and I also stated let's not be that family that gets CPS called on them because we're constantly absent and late. Let's go. So as we're getting out of the door, I'm like, come on, let's hurry up. We're going to be late. My wife turns around and calls me a faggot and stuff. Starts cursing me out in Spanish. I caught a few words. She did call me a faggot in front of my daughter in the middle of the hallway. Everybody could hear her. And after that, I said, I'm not getting in the car with you because you're acting like a wild woman. You're over here calling me a faggot in front of my daughter. Yeah, you're going to have to find your own way. If you don't have any respect for me, ask not anything from me. Now, if my daughter has to go to school by other means, that's not my fault. That's your fault. Because I'm not getting in that car and have you, in front of my daughter, continue to call me a faggot. So that's what really happened. But let me show you another example where this is the day after, okay? Now, this is, I finally decided, why is my kid constantly late or absent from school? And I'm going to show you why now. Because I videotaped it. Here it is, 1 o'clock in the morning. What time is it in the morning that your daughter's not in bed? What time is it in the morning that your daughter's not in bed? It's 1 o'clock now. Why do you have your daughter out, who's 12 years old, out in the street 8 or 9 o'clock at night? And you don't have... Now, does that sound like I'm yelling? This is the same tone I always use to my wife and my daughter. Even when I'm mad, you could. I'm upset, but that's my mad voice. Home. The second day of school, she's out, and every day thereafter, she's been late to school. And then when I say something, you curse me in the morning. Right there, that's what I'm referring to, that incident that happened the day before. She cursed me out. She was the one that cursed me out, not the other way as she claims. Okay? So what she's doing now, she's caught and she knows I'm recording her. But that's not going to deny why my daughter is... It's 1 o'clock in the morning and she's still not in bed. My daughter still has homework to do because she was, bringing her around and doing whatever and neglecting her responsibilities to her child. I'm not taking her to school and getting involved in your fiasco, all right? Because I'm the one who's... See, that's why you hear me say, now she's saying I wouldn't take her to school because, honestly, I'm fucking embarrassed. You don't think that principal who's been telling her you can't be coming late all the time or missing school this much, yeah, that principal will come out and tell you. She's not afraid of you. Mrs. Z's not afraid to tell a parent when they're doing something wrong to pull them to the side or in front of all the other parents say something. She'll tell you straight to your face. Mrs. Z has come out several times and said to her, hey, there's a late door in the school. It's a big red door that faces Austin Street. If you don't come on time to school, they lock all the doors. And the only way you can get into that door, to get into the school, is that red door where the security guard is. And if you're late constantly, and Mrs. Z has to stop and disrupt classes in order to bring your child into school late once again, disrupt the other kids from learning, that's what she said. She's going to talk to you at the door after she sees how many times you keep coming to that door late. And that's what happened. And I found that utterly embarrassing that my wife, as an adult, couldn't do the simple task of getting her daughter to school on time. It's embarrassing. And sooner or later, I knew what was going to happen because we experienced this before. They're going to talk to her. She's not going to do anything. She used the excuse that her mother was dying. That I understood. But after her mother died, the same behaviors kept continuing. It got so bad by March, the following March of the next following year, of this year, my daughter had a nervous breakdown and refused to go to school anymore because she was too embarrassed by her mother's neglect. My daughter's been traumatized. The school sent me the message. I showed the police. The police went and raided my wife's home to make sure my daughter was okay and getting the help that she needed, because obviously my wife can't handle the task of sending her to school. So how is she capable of handling anything else? Let's continue. It's going to be punished for the idiocracy that you're involved in over here. So I'm telling her, what you're doing is stupid. I don't want to be involved in it, okay? I want you to stop. I'm telling her to stop. Whatever you're involved in or whatever you're doing, please stop. That's what I'm telling. I don't want to be involved in the idiocracy. Why is your daughter not in bed when she has to be in school at 7:55 in the morning? And here it is the same day, 1 o'clock in the morning, and she's got to be in school in about 6 hours, and she's still not sleeping. You see? This is what happens. This is how my wife deals with problems. You understand? She just, who could care less? I'm just going to run away from my problems. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to run away and blame other people. That's what she does. She learned that from her mom. And there you go. So, let me post this video up. I hope this helps people. There's several tendencies of a person like this. She also used to hoard stuff, that you'd be tripping over all her stuff. And you're like, hey, we don't have the room for this stuff. Stop bringing stuff in. It'll create an unhealthy environment. There's something definitely wrong with my wife. And what they're doing is they're placating her bad behaviors. And it's actually, she feels like these bad behaviors are gaining her attention. So she steps it up a notch. And doesn't realize that the attention that she's getting is negative. Because she's doing negative stuff. And on that, I'm out of here.